My name is Maya Palacio, and you're watching my brand new series called HTO, How Things Operate, sponsored by Greenlight Energy. In this first episode, we're going to be talking about sharing nudes and the consequences that come from that from the law. The Non-Consensual Sharing of Intimate Images Act was passed in June of 2021. Now, before this law, there was absolutely nothing that could be done when it comes to sharing intimate images. If you were to share it to someone that you thought you may have trusted, and then they go ahead and share it about and make it public knowledge, unfortunately, then there wasn't much that could be done. But now, because of the passing of this law, something can be done. So before we really get into this law, it is important to realize that Bermuda is fairly behind when it comes to technology. So we could even argue that Gen Z and millennials did teach themselves how to use social media, how to use iPhones, how to use a camera phone, because it wasn't something that our parents sat down and taught us because they didn't know anything about it. It did not come up in their generation. And all the social media platforms were catered to the younger generation because we made it what it is today. All the Twitter and the TikTok and the Instagram, those major large platforms basically market and advertise to the younger generation because we are its audience. So what was happening and why it's so important to realize that in this conversation is because it was mainly generated in the younger generation, and that's where the focus kind of lies on this conversation. That the reason why this law may have taken so long to come into effect is because it wasn't really affecting the persons who make the law. Under the Criminal Code Amendment Act, the Non-Consensual Sharing of Intimate Images Act of 2021 is only 5 pages long, so it's a fairly quick read, and it explains and defines what an intimate image is, and it explains the observation and privacy breaches of the act. And furthermore, of course, it explains the consequences according to the law. So here are the offenses that you could be liable for according to the law. The first one is observation or recording in breach of privacy, which means recording somebody or taking pictures of somebody in an intimate act or doing something private. The second is you commit an offense when you distribute intimate images. The third one is you commit an offense when distributing intimate video recordings as well. So not just the images, but yes, the videos as well. And the fourth is you commit an offense by even threatening to put out these images and these intimate videos. So according to these offenses and these crimes, you can be liable for up to 3 years imprisonment, 5 years imprisonment, and also not exceeding 12 months of imprisonment. An important thing to get out of this conversation is that if you receive an intimate image, delete it immediately. Do not share it around. Number one, because that's a horrible thing to do. And also number two, because yes, you can be convicted for it. Another important factor is that this law and this act is only effective to things that have happened from the day it was passed. So from June of 2021 forward, June 15th of 2021 to be correct. It does not cover or it does not assist with offenses prior to the law being passed. Also, the Computer Misuse Act of 1996 was something that could have potentially been used in similar circumstances, but clearly was not as defined as this new law that was put into place. Obviously, technology and the use of social media has grown tremendously since 1996, so the update of this new law is obviously a lot more useful. If you are 18 years old and younger, please talk to a trusted adult about these conversations. And if you're an adult, please research this. Please understand these laws and understand social media and camera phones so that when a young person does come up to approach you and ask you questions, you have answers for them and you can help. And lastly, it's important to remember that your body, your choice. You should never do anything that you're uncomfortable with, and you should never even be around a person who tries to force you to do something that you're uncomfortable with. And that's the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. This is HTO, How Things Operate with Maya Palacio. Lastly, for those who do take intimate images or videos and you send them, here's some advice that was taken from a content creator on TikTok, which I thought was pretty brilliant and I feel encouraged to share with you guys. So take a look at what she does and hopefully it's helpful. Again, thanks for tuning in.
Not want my nudes to get leaked. And in case it ever does, in case this video gave any boys any ideas, let me say this first. Every risque photo I've ever taken and sent to anybody, it could be my boyfriend of years that I trust with my life, I've still done this in the photos that I sent him. I zoom in really far in the photo and I hide a number. So small, you'd never find it. It's invisible to the male eye. Only I know where the number is. Only I would be able to find it. It's not in a spot where you can like crop it out. There's a note in my phone where each number corresponds with a guy's name. So if my photos ever got leaked, I would know who did it in like a second and I would sue them. And every nude I've ever sent has been in California, where they have revenge porn laws. 6 months in prison.